This is Unmasked and Unscripted, a neurodivergent, affirming podcast hosted by psychotherapists who get it because we've lived it. Produced by Summit Family Therapy, PLLC. Enjoy!
I'm Brandon Hovey. I'm a psychotherapist here at Summit Family Therapy here in beautiful Peoria, Illinois. I'm an LCPC, been in practice for almost 5 years now.
And I'm Nate Oldenburg. I'm also a psychotherapist, LCPC. I've been in practice for nearly 13 years now.
I am Kate Mills. I work at Summit Family Therapy. I'm an LCPC, and I have been in practice since 2017.
Oh, wow.
2018.
Almost 10 years.
Oh no, I was trying to math in my head and it was not working.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So so I've been in practice for a minute.
Yep.
Wow.
But,
Yeah.
In various roles. But
Yes.
I feel
Yeah.
that.
our paths have converged here in
Yes.
clinical practice.
Yes, and Kate, correct me if I'm wrong, you've done schoolwork, you've done CMH, you've done private practice too. I mean, and Nate, you've done outpatient and residential.
Yes, I've done crisis, I've done adoption pres, and I've done inpatient residential substance abuse.
Yeah. So, have you mainly done private practice? You had a long journey before this as well.
So yes, I like to joke with people. I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I grew up, and that really showed. But prior to being at Summit, I was in a similar sized private practice. I did the CMH thing for a little bit. I interned. Well, let me go back to my CMH experience. I mainly worked with mandated clients with both the United States Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Prisons, Federal Probation, which is their parole, Illinois Department of Corrections, the open prison here in Peoria, the Peoria ATC, and also folks who were either on their way to DOC or out of DOC. So a lot of work there. Prior to CMH, I worked at what I would call a private practice addiction center, because primarily the one thing we did there was process or chemical addiction.
Gotcha.
And then before being a therapist, lots of different stuff.
Okay. So the three of us wanted to get together and do a podcast, see what this feels like, because we all have similar lived experiences. Not similar, but
similar neurodiversity wise.
Yes. We all happen to be neurodiverse in our own wonderful ways, and I think it's influenced us all in different ways. But we work with a lot of neurodivergent clients, and being from that world ourselves, I think we have a unique perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what are our goals for this podcast?
Well, help normalize the fact that we're different and not broken is a big one.
Absolutely. And to speaking to what Nate said, it is a neurotype. It is a brain type. As much as there are blood types, there are brain types.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love for people from all different neurotypes to hear this podcast and realize that they're not alone, and they're hearing it from clinicians who get it, because we are from that world.
Yep.
And we have lived it. We get it because we've lived it.
You hit the nail on the head, because again, we live in that world. Since we live in that world, we know the rules.
Yeah.
We know the score. We know the great do's and the horrible don'ts. We have seen it. We've lived it. We've experienced it. And again, we're here to normalize.
Yeah.
We're here to say, hey, what you're going through, maybe we've dealt with a version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a thing I talk about with some of my clients about kind of my overall philosophy and realization of counseling is, the more I sit back and really analyze where my approach to counseling came from, the more I realize it has greatly been shaped more than anything else by unpacking my own internalized ableism and challenging all of that, and therefore helping clients to do the same.
When you do your own work, you get some powerful lessons.
I agree.
So medically speaking, I was diagnosed with ADHD at 7. never felt like it was the whole picture.
Mm.
But ironically, back then, you could only get diagnosed with certain things and other things were exclusionary. So if you got diagnosed with ADHD, you could not be diagnosed with autism. Ironically, up until the year I graduated from grad school with the release of the DSM-5 in 2013. So by that point, it's like, okay, well, I have the diagnosis that gives me access to medication and support. Do I really need, a formal diagnosis for anything else? No. But I have learned in college about autism and went, well, that explains a big chunk of my childhood as well. And then a few years back, I came across a little thing called pathological demand avoidance, or some people might prefer persistent drive for autonomy. I'm still partial to pathological demand avoidance. We'll get to that in a bit. And that kind of explained the rest of my childhood.
Got you. Okay, so some ADHD potentially going on with you. Okay.
So ADHD is my identity. Some background. I was born in the last decade of the 20th century. 1990 is my birth year. And in the 90s, I had definitely had some inattentive issues that were noticed in the classroom. And nothing was ever pursued, really, simply because my IQ was tested and my parents weren't worried. My parents were like, oh, yeah, our kid's doing great. We don't need to do anything. And in high school, I definitely started to have some issues presenting that, in hindsight, total PDA. I went to high school with my wife, and that's where I met her. And, we had some flashes that started to form as a relationship, but it didn't really gel into anything quite yet. We quasi-dated, and she said, yeah, you really wanted to be left alone on the speech team bus. So again, that PDA, that drive for autonomy. In college, I knew that there were some different things about me. I didn't really pursue anything of it. Had a lot of different careers after college. At age 29, returned to school, entered graduate school, and along the journey at Bradley University, they tell you need to pursue some self-growth. You've got to go to therapy. My therapist at session number 2 said, I'm just going to lay this on you. You definitely have some traits that are ADHD. And that eventually led to a formal evaluation process. And I can go into detail about that formal evaluation process. And right away, the PsyD said, well, I've interviewed you. Let's get down to business and do the MMPI-3. Got that done. 2 weeks later, he told me what I always knew about myself. And that was, I was neurodivergent. One of my favorite people that I ever got to know and love in my life was my grandma. And I'll never forget, at age 17, senior year of high school, Brandon, I love you. You were definitely my eldest grandchild, and I always support you and I always care about you. But I love you, but you're unusual. In those words, it's like, what a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Me too.
Okay, so 2 ADHDers sitting with me in this room. Okay. So my perspective officially, I was not diagnosed in childhood, but always a kid feels my emotions very intensely, like crazy empathetic, intense emotions, always growing up feeling like either too much or not enough, kind of walking the this chorus of
yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's the name for our
therapy
podcast.
Chorus line,
right? Tell me more about that.
Exactly. Unpack that.
Let's unpack that. But getting to college, or as I got older and more demands were put on me and my time, like keep your room clean. For some reason, that was an impossibility for me. The executive
dysfunction.
The executive dysfunction that I ran into, especially in college. I was the kid that was always 2 minutes behind, 2 minutes late. It did not matter what time I left my dorm. I could leave half an hour early, and somehow, I don't know what would happen in my brain, but I would still roll into class 2 minutes late.
Mm-hmm.
And it transitioned like into my like early adult life, like
Mhm.
getting a job. I was the person who was always 2 minutes late. And like I've
Mhm.
figured out tools along the way to help me with that. So don't worry. I so far in my years of practice have not been late to a session. Like
That's
which
brilliant.
is incredible.
That's brilliant.
But yeah, little traits here and there. In college it all came to a head and I ended up just feeling like my world was falling apart and I could not get my brain under control.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to a clinic, or like our clinic there on campus, and they did an eval. They had a doctor there that was able to be like, hey, let's just start you on a low dose ADHD med and see how that helps. And it was like somebody took like beer goggles off of my face. Like, like that's the best way I could describe it. It was
Brilliant.
like not being able to see my whole life, and then somebody saying, hey, actually you need glasses.
Mm-hmm.
So taking that medication was like the tool I needed at that point to be like, oh my gosh, it's not something wrong with my brain.
Mm-hmm.
I just do not have the right tools to be able to do this. So that was my first diagnosis with ADHD.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I'm approaching this podcast from the perspective at the moment as I'm exploring and learning about my own neurodivergence. I obviously don't know everything, but you two, I think, have a lot of experience and expertise. Not that I don't, but in the neurodivergent world, I'm wanting to learn more, hopefully unpack some things about myself,
Mm-hmm.
and let my little ADHD brain hyper-focus on something for a bit that will benefit me and my clients.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And I can relate about the time thing, but my sessions generally will always start 5 or 8 minutes late, sometimes 10. I frequently tell clients this is an outpatient setting.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can and will happen. Sometimes crisis happens.
Yeah. It's unpredictable a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
a little chaotic occasionally.
Yes.
But I don't know. So from your specific neurotype, what are you bringing to the table for this podcast?
Oh, so yeah, I feel like I have a lovely complex complication, back and forth pushing. A lot of times we talk about for ADHD in particular, kind of this perpetual push-pull, where ADHD is kind of pushing you to go out and do things and have new experiences and seek out novel things, find that dopamine, get out of the routine, do something interesting, and then autism's like, okay, but that's too much. No, not that. You need consistency. People can't change plans on you. That's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add in the layer of PDA, and a lot of those changes and ideas have to come from me specifically. Otherwise, they're met and received as demands that are overwhelming and need to be avoided.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like that translates to your therapy style and working with clients?
I think it helps a lot because it helps me kind of unpack some relatively to sometimes very complex situations where I'd say a lot of people have come in and said, oh, well, you're just defiant or you're just that or the other thing to my clients. And I'm like, okay, no, your nervous system is overloaded. The environment is too much. It is not that you are broken. It's that this is a mismatch between who you are and what you're having to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. How about you, Brandon?
What Nate said is, I'm going to build off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Overload. Our 21st century is nothing but sensory overload.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be the screens we carry with us, whether it be the screens we work on or work with, or just all of the stuff that we get too involved with.
Well,
go ahead, Nate.
And the pacing of things, like everything is so much faster and constantly coming at you. I mean, just look at the notifications we get on our phone on a daily basis. We get, some of us get hundreds.
The world is smaller now. The world is smaller now. And, those who are watching who are parents, maybe you're a professional driver.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're driving your kid to 4 different activities, 5 different places. That nervous system overload, that cognitive load, it's not really sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Sooner or later, the levee shall break.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Got you. So what do you bring to this podcast?
sometimes that piece of gently meeting where someone is at,
Okay.
but also pointing out the painful reality.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think you both have the power of being very direct,
Yeah.
but also compassionate in the way you deliver it.
I would agree with that.
Uh-huh.
I would say with me, my therapy style is very psychodynamic,
Okay.
but also I'm very solution focused.
Mhm.
Let's look at the pain, let's treat the pain, but let's also confront the problem, because if you want a Band-Aid, I'm not the right therapist for you. I'm not. If
Yeah.
you want to debride the issue, clean things up,
Mhm.
and restore healthy tissues, let's work together.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very different in my approach,
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
So like my brain is very fast, very
Mhm.
non-linear,
Mm-hmm.
occasionally chaotic. And so like I'm very, very person-centered in my approach.
Yes.
So a lot of unconditional positive regard going on in
Mhm.
here. I
Mhm.
tend to not pathologize
Mm-hmm.
problems.
Yes.
I tend to often not even view them as problems. Like
Mhm.
they are just challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing wrong with a person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing inherently wrong
Yes.
with being human. Emotions are acceptable.
Yes.
Sometimes behaviors are not. But
exactly.
we can
Yeah, and I mean, building off the emotions thing, and a thing
Yeah.
that some of my clients get sick of hearing is there's no such thing as a negative emotion.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So like my ADHD neurotype, kind of the fast moving hypersensitive part of me, it's really good at following clients down rabbit holes,
Yes.
but also really good at bookmarking something really emotional and important to come back to
Mhm.
when it is time
Absolutely.
and when that client is ready. I'm also very good at connecting dots before, and I don't know if it's the same way for you guys, with just, again, our brains all work very differently,
Mm-hmm.
but that superpower of being able to notice a pattern
Mm-hmm.
and remember that pattern and bring it back up when it matters most. Like it's been remarkable as I've understood more about the way that my brain works, the way that I'm able to more appreciate myself and like my difference. And like, I'm not the same as other clinicians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some, but yeah, I'm really happy with the way that my brain works in therapy and sessions.
And
Me too.
On that note of pattern recognition in particular, I've noticed I have really good pattern recognition with a couple things in particular, and the biggest one is being able to recognize when a client is putting themselves on the path to burnout. It's probably my biggest example of
Coworkers
pattern
too.
recognition. Yeah, coworkers too.
Yeah.
If any of our coworkers are
Brandon
listening,
takes a break.
yeah. That would be an American Girl or American Boy book. Brandon takes a break.
takes a break. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we get it because we've lived it.
Yes,
Bingo.
exactly.
Right? Like
Mhm.
my own like experience with burnout has, taught me that rest is not a reward.
No.
It is an essential. It's an essential part
Mm-hmm.
of a healthy lifestyle.
And rest is more than just sleeping.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Nate, that EMDR 5-day intensive. I mean, I think I sent you some screenshots of that electronic digital board game I was playing.
Probably, yeah.
Just to tune out.
Yeah.
Forget about work for just a bit and recharge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that idea of, hey, rest, that is like a food group. That is like a non-negotiable. And when you have these neurotypes, there's a lot of pattern recognition that is external, but the internal, like burnout, Nate, burnout is like that constant companion that's on the horizon that frequently waves, doesn't always come up to us and give us a bear hug, but when it does, you feel it and you're overwhelmed.
Yep.
Yeah.
You really are.
For me, it was a complete shutdown. Like, it was rough. So my next question, I want us to talk about something we wish we had known sooner.
That's a loaded question.
I'm going to quote Iggy Pop.
Okay, let's go.
Everything will be all right tonight.
Okay.
Everything will be all right. It's a case of where in the moment, when you are 15, 12, 14, those turbulent adolescent years and you think the world's falling apart, it's just evolving.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You were just seeing the friction of tectonic plates in your life.
Mhm.
This is not an earthquake, but continents are forming.
Mhm.
I love your analogies.
Thank you.
You're good at that.
Thank you. I am a master of metaphor.
I agree.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. So how about you, Nate?
I mean, don't be in so much of a rush to grow up
Mhm.
and, you know, live the adult life, and really take some time to enjoy the absence of demands
Mhm.
and responsibility, and just be present more in the moment.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think I would like to tell my younger self that my emotional sensitivity is not immaturity,
Mhm.
and that like my sensitivity to rejection is not a flaw,
Mhm.
and that like shame
Yes.
is unnecessary.
Shame is a black tarry substance,
Yeah.
much like pitch, much like tar itself, and it's unpleasant because it doesn't serve us.
No.
It does not.
And on that point, I would say guilt is the emotion, and shame is when we take that emotion of guilt and transfer it from our actions to us as a person.
Yeah.
And building off of what Nate said, guilt is healthy.
Yes.
We can learn from guilt. It's like, hey, I made a mistake. It was me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do better.
Mhm.
That statement, I'm going to do better, that is taking guilt
Mhm.
and transmuting it into repair.
Yeah.
It's
That is alchemy. That is the kind of alchemy we want to pursue.
Mhm.
That shame, it's toxic.
Mhm.
Get that out. Get that out.
It keeps you stuck,
It does.
and not just stuck in a particular behavior, but it keeps us stuck in our lives overall.
Mhm.
A big thing that I learned when I worked rehab for nearly 5 years is shame is probably the biggest predictor of keeping people in a state of the relapse cycle.
Bingo.
Because people say, "Oh, I'm never going to drink or use again," and then they do, and then they utterly lay into themselves about
Yes.
it, and then they say, "Well, screw it, might as well keep going,"
Mm-hmm.
and that just keeps them stuck in that same cycle. Whereas instead, if they go, "Yeah, that was a bad decision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what can I do to bounce back from that?" and reach out for help,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
that stops that same shame cycle. Because
Yeah.
shame, as I think Brene Brown put it, needs secrecy, silence, and judgment.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In that judgment piece, sooner or later, that judgment becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It does.
And, Nate, your experience in rehab, that's such a valuable experience because you really saw how shame almost became an addiction of its own.
Oh, yeah. I didn't say it flat out does become an addiction of its own.
I'm hearing that shame could be its own
Oh, yeah.
full episode.
Absolutely.
Or
For sure.
series.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially I don't know, I think it's important for people, neurotypical and neurodivergent, of all neurotypes,
Yep.
to hear that it is okay to be messy and it's okay to be human.
Mm-hmm. Avoidance does not serve us at all. Avoidance does not serve us at all.
Yeah.
Coming from the people that deal with PDA.
Yes, yes. And unfortunately, PDA gives us almost a turnkey connection with avoidance.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's so easy to say, oh, what problem? There is no problem. I'm going to just compartmentalize this. This is on a different island than my usual self. I don't have to worry about it. And yet, well, that idea of the treasure that we're seeking, it's in that cave,
Yeah.
To borrow a line I saw on Super Mario once, the princess is in another castle.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, as far as I'm going back to the what you bring to this podcast question, we have our master of metaphor.
Yes.
Yep.
I think I'm going to be the person who can bring some humor, some
Absolutely.
energy, and some delusion, emotional honesty as well.
Yes.
Sure.
but being able to hopefully bring some clinical insight in layman's terms, in plain
Absolutely.
language.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I guess what I really bring to the table is unpacking those unhelpful shoulds of
Yeah.
ableism that we've picked up along the way.
Something Nate is
Mhm.
so good at is pointing out that pattern
Mhm.
that is self-destructive
Mhm.
of the shoulds.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's why I send so many folks to Nate.
Mm-hmm.
And again, pointing out that destructive pattern,
Mhm.
it is a pattern of
Oh.
ableism.
Yeah.
Another thing that I bring, I'm very much a therapist. EMDR is an area that I draw from.
Mm-hmm.
But acceptance and commitment therapy, living a values-centered life.
Mhm.
What is it that you value? What do you want to build? Let's
Right.
go from there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I pull from that a fair bit as well. And I talk a lot about the role of acceptance, especially dealing with my own PDA, and that has been a game changer, is coming to that place of acceptance that this is not my place to change or influence or address, and that has helped regulate my nervous system so much, because then
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking that as a demand, because that is not mine to handle in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes there needs to be an acceptance of pleasant realities.
Yes.
Because sometimes we don't acknowledge the positives enough.
Mm-hmm.
We don't.
Yeah.
Another thing I like to point out to clients, that neurodivergent people need neurotypical people, and neurotypical people
Yes.
need neurodivergent people, because
Mm-hmm.
when we build things together, then we're taking into consideration everyone's needs.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if one party or the other just does it, then we'll stay stuck in different ruts. So maybe
Exactly.
a rut of doing things because that's the way we've always done them,
Mm-hmm.
or we'll stay stuck in kind of like, I would say, group biases in particular is a big struggle. And recognizing that something that neurodivergent people can bring to the table is recognizing that arbitrary group biases aren't helpful, and that it's more about, okay, are you in alignment on the things that matter?
Mm-hmm.
You hit the nail on the head. Alignment.
Mhm.
A career that I had prior to becoming a therapist was one of an elected policymaker, and there was a matter that was being legislated that to me was a very straightforward issue, because number one, it protected the public and it protected our employees.
Mm-hmm.
This individual who was against it, all they were concerned about was the budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I called on someone who was present at the meeting who was not elected, and I said, correct me if I'm wrong, these things pay for themselves. His response was, oh, absolutely they do. Here's how.
Mhm.
And it's a case of where we are willing to see beyond the balance sheet.
Mhm.
We are willing to see beyond the ideology and look at solutions.
Yeah. So it'll be fun to see how this podcast evolves and
Mm-hmm.
the topics that we cover,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that looks like. But
Exactly.
in the end, hoping that people can find some value in here,
Correct.
Yeah.
that they are not alone. Maybe
Mhm.
learn some more about, I don't know, themselves or
Exactly.
loved ones that may
On
have traits like
that
this.
note of the benefit of having therapists that have been there, and
Mhm.
they're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think a thing that we're going to have to address at some point is the harm that therapy can cause when it's not informed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think knowing that we come from a similar place in that, like, we are trauma informed.
Mhm.
We have, or like, aware of the various misdiagnoses that people
Yeah.
come in with.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember where I was going with that.
Yes,
Help
and so
me.
therefore we're
Thank you.
more aware of how we've been told things
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
based on some of our own experiences in therapy as well, that made us feel more broken, and then
Mm-hmm.
how we can then heal that and realize that you're not broken at all.
Mm-hmm.
This is a mismatch between you and the environment,
Mhm.
going back to my point from earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and that your brain works a particular way, and you need to stop fighting that.
Mhm.
Yes.
Working with your brain instead of against it.
Yes,
Exactly.
that is a big theme of my therapy process with all my clients.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what makes this podcast different than others that maybe tackle some neurodivergent ways? I know there's some good ones out there.
Yeah. There are some good ones out there. I think.
Why are we different?
We have a good balance here, and it's very conversational. And we also have people at various points in their careers. I think is another thing that kind of brings us in a little bit of advantage because, and I think it'd be good to bring on some other people that are like newbies and be like, hey, you're just learning about this process, and what were you told about it? And
what are your observations so far?
that is a thing that I think we can bring to the table by tapping into, hey, the person that's been doing the whole neurodivergence thing their entire career for 13 years now versus, also people that are coming at it from different points in their career and their life experience. Because I think what I've seen from a lot of the podcasts is we have a lot of late diagnosed adults that are kind of starting these podcasts. And here we have, someone that was diagnosed with some of it really young and some people that weren't diagnosed with it very young and caught it much later in life, and having that kind of balance as well.
I think we're also very cautious as well as clinicians not to provide misinformation.
Yes,
exactly.
And I don't know, again, we're people who get it because we study it, or get it because we see it in others. We get it because we are living it both personally and professionally.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also think, at least on my part, I try to be very good at admitting when I have made a mistake or when I'm wrong. And I think between the three of us, we're pretty good at, disagreeing.
Yes. Yeah. I would say so. Yes.
But still being able to do so in a manner that,
I think that is a lost art that we need to bring back as a culture and society. Is the ability to, I don't quite see eye to eye with you on that, but I do understand where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Kate, what you said minutes ago, about going down a rabbit hole. I frequently say this to clients. What you think is a rabbit hole could actually be the interstate highway we need to drive on.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
My favorite thing is when, we stop mid-session with a client and they're like, sorry, I have something completely off topic, but it's on my mind and I have to express it. And usually that thing is
the crucial
and
item.
It's something that they see as completely not meaningful at all.
Yeah.
But I'm right there with them because I'm like, let's focus on that for a bit because that's also interesting to me. But
it's a moment of exceptional courage when someone does that. When someone just outright says, hey, I need to change subjects. Brandon, can we talk about this? Yeah. I thought about this.
I love EMDR as well, but we talk about that neural network or the memory network. Once one thread is pulled, often that rabbit hole exists for a reason. Yeah. It's not just my brain being ooh, that's novel and new. I mean,
that too.
Partially it is. But oftentimes it's connected to something else.
Exactly.
My brain is so good at getting those little trigger memories that are okay, was it triggered recall? There's all these different little, I don't know.
Yeah.
And one of the ADHD strengths I point out to people is our associative thinking.
Yes.
Because we link things with other things, we can recall a huge amount of information just because it was linked to this one specific thing.
There was a good quote. I thought I wrote it down, but maybe I didn't. Oh, it was a really good quote because as I was reflecting on what an intro episode would thing, and I can't remember, I didn't write the quote down, but I wrote my thoughts.
Sure.
Masking for me was survival.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not my identity.
Yes.
Correct.
And I wish I would have learned that a lot sooner.
Oh yeah.
Because I think to me that led to a lot of anxiety, depression, burnout.
Yep.
And when we're surviving, when we're in a survival mode, in whatever crisis there is, we're only thinking about moment by moment.
Yes.
We're not thinking about the bigger picture. We're not thinking about a wider and longer timeline. We're just thinking about the moment. I agree with that quote.
Yeah. Do you guys have a fun sign-off that you use with your other podcast? Do you
No.
just say bye?
Yeah.
We can say goodbye. Yeah.
Till next time.
Exactly.
See you next time.
Yep. See you next time, folks.
Thank you for listening.